Hey guys, Desolate Gaming here with a huge video. You ever wonder which casinos are better than others? What are the margins or takes, the edge, whatever you want to call it? And are tribal casinos better or worse than traditional ones? Well, I took over 60 hours and put together every single report and every publicly known margin in every state, the different laws, policies, anything you need to know. So this is kind of like a travel guide, but also it's just interesting if you want to know. So people want to know, is anything better than Vegas? Because that's like gambling central. It's got the best odds, right? Let's start with them. They report by region, not by casino, so that's not great. And a lot of these numbers are averages. I do ranges on some of them when that was available, but just FYI, I sourced these numbers the best I could, but some of these are third-party accounts. Some of them were from reliable sources, but didn't have a date associated with them, but almost all of them, as far as I could tell, are from 2018 to 2021. Now, the other problem is contradictory information. I assume, like, one fact used to be true, and then a new thing is true now. So I guess you could say some of the information in this video might be inaccurate, but it's the best that I could do. As far as I know, this video is the most researched and assembled and accurate database on the entire internet about this stuff. One more little setup thing so that this whole video makes sense. 1 cent machines pay worse than like $1, $5 machines, whatever. And I'm not saying, okay, you're betting $1, but it's actually quarters. It's literally a $1 machine. The minimum bet is probably like $10 to $100. $1 is just the unit. And the reason for this is because penny machines take up, this amount of floor space, this amount of staff time to service and refill and whatever. Electricity, same amount. Leasing it, about the same amount. Property taxes for the square footage, under it. The carpet, under it. I mean, like everything. That all costs the same, whether it's a cheap machine or an expensive machine, and the casino wants to make that up. So it's easier to do at a higher machine. If somebody's betting $100 per spin, and the casino edge is 5%, they're making money pretty quick. Whereas if you're betting 50 cents, in 10 minutes, you're going to give them a lot less money. So more of that has to go to flat expenses. So that's why on the strip, the average 1 cent, or the average between all the 1 cent machines, I should say, is 88.33%, but on the $1 machines, it's a pretty bad 92.34. That's why everybody who goes to Vegas says don't go to the strip, but, the walking distances are a little bit better, they got better transportation. If that's worth a couple percent to you, play wherever you want. Also, casinos with really bad margins sometimes have really, really generous player rewards, where it's like upwards of 1+%. So they just tack that onto the machine margins, unfortunately. So with all that information out of the way, okay, so we got penny machines, strip, terrible, downtown, about 89% terrible, Boulder Strip, I actually don't know where that is, 90.5, and then North Las Vegas, 90.79. So you're never going to find a good penny machine. I don't think they even make them. But then we got the strip for $1 machines, 92.34, which is terrible. Downtown, 94.12, then Boulder Strip, 95.49, and North Las Vegas, 95.62. What is North? Like, what was that, like Red Rock or something? Yeah, you should play there. I've been there. It's nice. Now, here's something I want to point out. $1 megabucks machines, okay? They're terrible. They have this gigantic jackpot, but you're paying for it. So on the strip, 87%, downtown, 86.4, 87.6, and 86.98. I mean, just everywhere it's terrible. But then all machines average together. Now, this is where it gets weird because really, really small casinos in almost every state tend to value their real estate more. Not like literally, it's just we only have so much space. So like logically, if we put in a penny machine, we're losing more money than you could calculate with like the flat expenses because they can't put in just unlimited machines. So sometimes you look at the pennies, you look at the dollars, then you look at the average and you're like, whoa, that's a drastically different average. Either that or they just have so many penny machines. Also, I have no idea how they calculate the average. Is it per dollar bet, per machine? Like, I have no idea. But they're just general numbers. It's mostly relative information. So, yeah, the strip is 91.84, which is not too bad. Downtown, 92.22. Boulder Strip, 94.26. Hello. And North Las Vegas goes down to 93.34. So it's a good place to play really high. Or they just have really, really few penny machines. Like, it's hard to tell which. But, I mean, generally, you compare those to each other. Hello. So, here's the funny thing. Nevada, not Vegas. Let's go. Lake Tahoe South Shore and then Lake Tahoe North Shore. What is that literal? Like, is that the name of a town or is it just you paddle a boat and the odds get way better? Spoiler alert. So 1 cent on South is 88.94. I mean, okay. But then on the North, it's 92.81. All right, that's a big difference. $1 is 92.5 versus 91.5, and then that average 93.33, and then average at North Shore is higher than both of them. I don't know how that's possible, because it kind of isn't. But they're telling me it's 94.29, and these are the most documented ones in Nevada. So all Laughlin area casinos, pennies are at 89.11, just don't play penny machines. 25 cents is at 93.44. $5 is 94.33, and average is 92.15, a number that actually makes sense. So those are immensely better than the Strip, even Fremont Street, even downtown, really kind of better than North, generally. So then we got Reno. Okay, this is nuts. I'll tell you, right now, this is one of the best in the country overall, but there is a couple that are better that will blow your mind. The locations of them, you'll never guess it, unless you already know. Some of you do. So penny machines, 92.69 in Reno. Hey. $1 is 95.38. That's nuts. $5 machines, 95.06. Why is it lower? I don't know. And then average 94.56. Like, that's really good. That is insanely generous. In case you're not good at math, if you're like, whoa, 94.56, I'm going there and I'm going to bring double the money and cycle it twice as much as I would at a worse casino. On average, you've just effectively dropped it below 90%. Now, if you do conditional statements, I'll get into that in a different video. You can beat it. But anyway, just do what I do, AP play, and have like 200% RTP. Anyway, 1 penny in Sparks. Sparks is the winner right here. Almost. 92.98. $1, 96.16. Hello. $5, 97.32. What? Average 94.55. And then all Wendover casinos, and those are pretty nice. Pennies are 93.41, so that's insane. $1, 95.86, $5, 96.39, and average is 94.32. No, I'm not going to read all of them. I know you can read. I'm just introing the first couple here. So Sparks and Wendover are insane. Their averages are nuts. Their low end is good. Their high end is good. It's just crazy. These are really good places to play. If you care about a couple percent. To me, a couple percent, even with the way I play, but regardless of that, I would just go to the place I like better. So can anything stack up to there? And have you already moved your plane tickets from Las Vegas to Reno? Anyway, okay, so Alabama, let's just jump in. Alphabetical order. Don't skip ahead to just yours, because there's some really good information here, and you might travel. Just saying. Also, that's just going to bury this video if you just skip around and I have low retention, so I'm just saying. And if you find this information valuable, which, like, come on, I'll give this out for free. Leave a big ol' like on the video and maybe subscribe, because I tell you how to beat casinos, baby. So Alabama, Class 2 only. That's where a slot machine looks like a slot machine or video poker or whatever, and really what's going on is bingo. You're actually playing bingo, which is a completely different type of gambling. In fact, I think you only have to be 18. Now, here's the problem with Alabama. Okay, so Class 3, which is like your traditional machines, like normal gambling, normal casinos, they are banned. No public reporting or minimum RTP laws, return to player. Do not gamble in Alabama. I'm giving quite a few locations a DNG certification, in my opinion, from the Desoto Gaming channel, and this is one of them, because if I don't know what you're charging, or, well, what your margin is, I'm not going to play there. And that's why people say, well, tribal ones are worse, because a lot of these are. They just don't know. Here's the problem. All the numbers that compiled for the last 10 plus years, Class 2 pay less than Class 3 on average. It's about 3% worse. An absolute 3%, which then out of the margin is like, what, 30, 40%. Like, that's huge. They are much worse in general on average. There are exceptions, and you can order them with different pay tables. So I'm not just saying all Class 2s are ripoffs. One of the best Class 2 casinos in all of Wisconsin, their publicly certified amounts are about 95% average. So there you go. So Arizona, 83 to 100% is the range allowable by law. So it has to be 83 or higher for skill or decision games. So virtual blackjack, where like you can hit at the wrong time and penalize yourself. So people are going to eat up that 3%, trust me, by just playing wrong, especially on video poker. And then for everything else, slots, no skill, it's 80 to 100%. This is true for almost every single state, by the way. And then 75 to 100% on Keno, because Keno's awful. No public reporting, and they do allow blackjack as the sole table game, though. So blackjack is like a 1 to 2% edge, unless they start fiddling with the rules a little bit about soft 17s and payouts and when you can split, when you can double, how many shoes it is. They can get it down lower. So I don't really trust anything in Arizona, but If you go to an Arizona casino's website and it says, all of ours are certified at this on average, this is our thing, we publicly advertise it, they can't do that if it's not true. I don't know how people would find out. Have to have evidence to get a subpoena because there's no public reporting to the government as far as I know, so I still don't trust it, but, it's this gray area. It's just, why would you go to Arizona and play there? Like, if you know this, why would you do it? So Arkansas, at one unknown period for 1 year, I just threw that in on one slide just to remind you that I don't know when these stats were taken. Oaklawn was 92.81% average and Southland was 92.72%, so not bad. A lot of states are about 2 to 3% lower than that. So it's not great, it's not bad, it's right up there with like the Strip, so that's fine. California, everybody's favorite. We're not going to bring politics into it, but bad place to live. Roulette uses cards, and the method for choosing the cards looks an awful lot like a roulette wheel. Did I really spell that wrong? Okay, anyway, blackjack is partially banned, so non-blackjack is I'm sure that's what they call it, is played to 22. And then there's a 2 to 5% house commission per hand, making it like the worst thing I've ever heard of. That's right up there with 3-card poker. Terrible. No public RTP stats at all. Do not gamble in California, the end, period. I don't care who I just pissed off, you're wrong. Look, if they publicly say, hey, 96% average, come play here, our odds are great, then yeah. If they don't disclose a dang thing, half the games are banned, blackjack is fake and plays differently, and the slots are awful, I'm not going there. Next up, Colorado. This is released by the Colorado Division of Gaming themselves. I'm not going to cite every source, but it's on the slides if you want. Blackhawk, 89.81 at 1 cent, but then 93.69 at $5. So, okay range, similar to Vegas, maybe like a sliver worse. Central City is 90.43, and then that's at 1 cent, and then 93.76 at 5, so that's fine. And then Cripple Creek, look at this, 91.89. Like, that's so much higher. And then 1 cent is, or that's 1 cent, and then $5 is 95%. That's pretty good. So the averages in order, Blackhawk, Central, and Cripple are 92.35, 92.30, and 93.53. So they all kind of land together. They're not that different. I think it's more about how many penny slots they have. So Connecticut, we got Foxwood, 1 cent is 90.09, not bad. And $100, which they actually have these at my local, 94.14, which ain't that great, but I mean, it's all right. Usually it's a $100 or $200 a spin, by the way, single liner, like a pink diamond. Then the average is 91.95, not bad. Mohegan Sun, a quarter of a cent. What are you guys doing out there in Connecticut? What? Yeah, you gotta take your hand pay in hay pennies? You got some pieces of 8 coming out? You got the doubloons? Do they just shave off some silver until they bring out like a little balance, like a scale? What are y'all doing out there in Mohegan Sun? This is the only casino that was measured in quarter cents. I've never even seen that. Anyway, 86.3%, $100, 94.55, average is 91.90, making it almost identical to Foxwood. So Connecticut, not a bad place to play. Then there's Delaware. Games could only return above 95% with direct approval from the lottery director. So they're worse than that. I mean, that's fine. 95 is fine, but it's just that's a bad luck. Dover Downs, 92.59. Hey. Oh, these are lottery terminals, I believe. I don't think these are class 3. These are like what they call VGMs or VGTs. I'll get into that later. But Delaware Park, 92.12, and Harrington Raceway, 92.03. So I believe they're all at raceways. They're all owned by the lottery, which means that if you lose there, your losses go to fund like public works and stuff and public benefits, whatever. I mean, whatever the government does, you're funding it. Because they take an enormous portion of the lottery, if not just directly own the lottery company in most places. And the funny thing is these lotto terminals tend to be right around 92%. So not that bad. I mean, compared to like a scratch off, which is 25 to 30 or something, just terrible odds. Oh, and they lie about the odds. Don't get me started. Anyway, Florida. This is the gaming regulators, 2018 to 2019, just saying. They have offshore/international waters on ships gambling, because a bunch of cruise ships take off from Florida, of course. Those are regulated by no laws because they're in international waters, and that's the only time they switch them on, /pirate law, yar, and absolute free-for-all. Now, usually the machines are made in America, but man, if you see some stuff you haven't seen before, and there's no reason they can't order them at 82% if the manufacturer allows, so... Yeah, but otherwise, Magic City, 93.43 average. I mean, you look, it's 92, 93, 90, 92, 92, 91, 91. Not bad averages, nothing special. It's not the worst state. Georgia, no laws at all, don't gamble in Georgia. That was a short one. Illinois, Wisconsin's most hated neighbor. It's a corrupt, rights-taking away hellhole. I don't know why you would go there, but if you do, you're looking at about 90 to 92%. There's a bit of a difference here. Some of them, I mean, the average being 89.39 at Harrah's, yikes. Usually to do with real estate prices. It's almost entirely what the factor is, if I had to guess. Now, I did put a little note here. You should also factor in that everybody in that entire state drives with their head up their and damage to your vehicle was not included in these percentages. Gotta factor that in. If you think, haha, funny comedy deaths, no, we sincerely hate them. Then there's Indiana. It's bad. That's a lot of 89s. I don't see anything that's even a 9.2. They're just terrible. Indiana's a terrible place to play. And yeah, Tropicana, Maristar, these are some brands you've heard of. Yeah, that makes sense. They tend to have the worst ones. Besides some tribal ones, but Iowa! Info released by the Iowa Racing Gaming Commission because none of these are tribal casinos, I think. I've actually been to 2 of them. But yeah, 89 to 90. I don't see no high numbers up here, do you? Stay out of Iowa. That place is boring as heck anyway. Then we got Kansas. State-run casinos, 87% minimum. So, they got no hard numbers on actual settings. It's just the law is they can't go lower than 87. I think that's for the same little, lottery terminals. But then they got the tribal casinos on the Native American lands. So, no regulations, oversight, reporting at all. Kansas State Gaming Agency reports an 80% minimum allegedly. That's, part of the agreement with them. But they don't enforce it. So, I didn't put the do not gamble here because I've heard really good things about some Kansas casinos. And quite honestly, they have a really high count of machines that you can advantage play, if you have such said knowledge. So, not going to throw them under the bus, but they on watch. Louisiana, here we go. Gambling machines outside of casinos cannot be set lower than 80% or higher than 94%. Those are in bars, taverns, that kind of stuff usually. That's weird. And then casino stats are set by region of the state, not by casino, so they're entirely useless. But they range from 88.7 to 89 percent on 1 cent, 92 to 94.5 at $5. So the approximate average is 90.5, which is just blah, whatever, kind of low end, Then we go to Maine, 89% minimum for any machine in the state. Both casinos are at racetracks. And I think they run unique games. They're not your normal Class 3 stuff, but might not be as severe as some other places you're going to hear about. So Hollywood Casino, 90.15, and Oxford Casino, 90.01 average. Not very good. Maryland, here we go, 87% minimum payback per machine. Not just average, per machine. Average payback between all machines must be 90 to 95%. That's not bad. Now, some of the worst states just skate 90.01, as you saw. Nothing stopping Maryland ones from doing that, but I'm kind of impressed. That's kind of nice. They don't have any reporting. They don't have any, public statistics. They just say, well, we're not going to disclose the exact numbers. Just let's not rip people off. That is such a great way to do it. Maryland kind of knocked it out of the park there. I like it. Too bad it's just Washington, D.C., rich people edition. It's corrupt as hell. But Massachusetts, 80% minimum payback by law, just like almost every other state. Plain Ridge Park has a 92.03% average. MGM Springfield, 92.39, and Encore, 91.49. So not bad. That's pretty high. You can do better, but that's not bad. Michigan, our other favorite neighbor here in Wisconsin. 75% minimum payback is the only law. No public reporting of any kind for the 17 tribal casinos. No public reporting of any kind for the 3 private casinos either. Don't play in Michigan. You gotta do not gamble in Michigan. Certification, in my opinion, kind of meaningless. This entire video is for entertainment purposes only, I have to say it legally. Probably. But don't play in Michigan. Also, just Michigan's awful. Then we got Minnesota, the even worse version of Michigan. The video poker and blackjack must be set to 83% to 98% because it's skill-based, so they put an 83% floor on it like most people do. Slots are 80 to 95, so they're not allowed to set them higher. Keno, 75 to 95. All casinos can set between that range and do not publicly disclose their averages. So mechanical slots and table games that don't use cards are banned. So if you use dice, banned. And a mechanical slot, not a true mechanical, but just one with mechanical moving reels, is banned. It has to be video-based and 100% digital. I thought that was really strange. I'm actually not sure if they can have wheels, as in Wheel of Fortune, like a spinning physical object. It has to be purely digital is what I've heard. Very strange. Generally, I just wouldn't gamble there. I've heard bad things about all their casinos. So, Yeah. Mississippi, 1 cent. Oh, they go by region again. Yeah, useless. But 1 cent is 91.73 to 91.99 on the low to high, so that's not bad on average for the regions. And then $5 is 93.78 to 95.52. Hey, the averages range from 91.87 to 92.32. So Mississippi, pretty good place to play. I mean, if you're just thinking like, I'm going to fly to the best casino in the whole country, like, your cost of the airplane is probably going to be the bigger factor. The distance from the airport and the cost of a rental or like an Uber is going to be the factor. So go where you want to go, but like some of these are such big red flags I wouldn't even consider gambling there or going there to gamble. And that's what this video is all about. But wait to hear some of these things coming up. All right, so Mississippi, or Missouri, my bad. I mean, bunch of 90s, some 80s, you know. Then there's Montana. Here we go. Bars and taverns, $2 max bet cap, 800 max payout. Cannot pay higher than that. 80% minimum return. And that's it. That's the only law. So everybody knows ones in bars and taverns are awful. Okay, so tribal casinos, $5 max bet, $1,500 max payout. That is really weird. I don't know about you, but I go to the casino to win big. So, well, or grind advantage stuff. I mean, that's what I really do. But I like to win big. So absolutely no minimum payback requirement at all, except for the 80% of bars and taverns. But in tribal casinos, no laws. And the weird, like, 5 max to 1,500, that means, think about it, there is nobody paying $100 a spin. There's nobody playing $6 per spin because it's $5 max bet. Unless they don't mean cumulative, they mean unit. I couldn't really determine that with their terminology. Let me know if you're from Montana, but this is the worst state to play in. I could not find one worse in theory. These rules make no sense. The lack of oversight is crap, and they're all tribal casinos, which are inherently on average, I guess, perceived as being, and usually are, less trustworthy just simply due to a lack of reporting, but also some numbers that I've actually seen in some ways I've tested it. Oh, subscribe for my future video on how to tell if you're in a high margin or low margin casino. That's coming up. So Montana, worst there is potentially. Now maybe you go to Montana, you go to a website for a casino and they say, hey, they're all 96%, they're all class 2, woo! Well, then they're great, or that one is. So let's see, coming up on New Jersey. 90 to 91, is it really that much better than an 89 to 90 state? Not really. It might actually quite literally not be. It might just be due to the averages and the number of penny machines. New Mexico. Private and tribal are 80% minimum. No public reporting. Don't gamble in New Mexico. Can't see the numbers. Can't trust it. And like I said, caveats to all these. I keep saying the exceptions. You'll see why when we get to Wisconsin. It's going to look awfully similar, but I got more to say about that because that's where I'm from. So New York. Here we go. This one's shocking because New York is just like awful. So tribal casinos have class 3 games. Cool. Tiago Downs, 91.62%. Resorts World Catskills, 91.40 average. Del Lago, 90.94, almost 91. And Rivers, 90.50. Not bad. Everything there costs too much, though. The food, the transport, the energy, the taxes, everything. So factor that one in. But they're technically not that bad. But then we've got the racetrack locations, which are VGMs. So they're 90% minimum payback by law, which is not too bad. So I guess these are the locations that are on racetracks, and those averages range from 91 to 94. Like, that's pretty good. But VGMs usually are super limited in what they can do. You'd walk up to one and think it's 30 years old. You'll see what I mean in a future state here. So North Carolina, tribal casinos must be between 83 and 98%. No public reporting. Don't gamble in North Carolina. Quite simple. You're not going to tell me you're not getting my money. North Dakota, hundreds of blackjack-only locations. Literally almost 1,000. It might even be over 1,000 now. I was looking at some old numbers. They're limited to $1 to $25 in that range, and they must operate, quote, for the benefit of charity. All they play is blackjack. That's it. So it's like a dealt table game. It might be electronic, I doubt it, but that's kind of weird. So sparing that, they have an extremely unusual max bet rule in the full-size casinos. Like you can bet $50 a thing on tables, but only 3 times. You can't do it 4 times in a row. Like, you should go read it. It is the craziest, most illogical thing I have ever seen. It just sounds like a giant pain in the butt where you can't just walk around and do what you want. So don't gamble in North Dakota. Just not worth the hassle and the weirdness and the lack of any kind of reporting. I mean, they got the min-max, the 83, all that, but who cares? I'm sure blackjack's lovely though, but Ohio. It is a place that I've been told people go on purpose sometimes. So 90.1% to 92.16. I mean, that's not bad. That's really not bad. Oklahoma. Absolutely no laws whatsoever. Don't gamble in Oklahoma. I put a lot or all of Class 2 games. I couldn't remember if they're allowed to do Class 3 and there's just no laws, or if they're allowed to do Class 2s and then because of that there's no laws. I mean, I'm sure you still have to be like 18 or 21 to play. I mean, it's not no laws, but no laws about payback. So Class 2, sometimes they're better, usually they're worse. On average, they are several percent worse. They're down in the 80x return, usually. That's bad. You don't want to play on that. Oregon, or Oregon. I don't know. Y'all say I said it wrong. Whatever. If you want people to say it right, spell it less stupidly. Anyway, bar, tavern, and racetracks are $250 max bet. 600 cap payout, which is weird, but okay. And those machines are generally awful. Statewide average, 92.34% though. Okay. And then tribal casinos, no laws at all for all 9 tribal casinos. Do not gamble in Oregon. Pennsylvania, not much special here other than 89 to 90%. No standouts here, no 92s, no 94s. These are terrible averages. Maybe they're 90% penny slots, and as soon as you get off those, you're doing great, but I doubt it. And actually, as the story goes, William Penn, founder of Pennsylvania, he got off that boat and was just like, I love me some oatmeal, okay, and I love me some gambling. I think one's got a better potential to make money. Crank that stuff down. Rhode Island, here we go. Extremely specific VLTs. Let me pull this one up. You aren't even going to believe this. Oh, and that's video lottery terminals. So you're playing like a scratch off, but like digital edition. Except you're not. They're real casino games. Wait till I read this. So the old version of the law said it had to have exactly like 3 or 4 versions of poker. Like jacks are better, double, and then it had to have like exactly also Keno and exactly also. It just goes on. Now on their current website they say they have almost 4,000 of them. Hello. Moneymaker in that small of a state. Sports betting, okay, cool. That's just whatever. It really doesn't make money for the people who operate it, by the way. People genuinely do just beat it all the time. A lot of casinos just have it to have it, which is kind of funny, actually. So I know like Bally's Twin River Lincoln has table games, but I think all of their slot machines are VLTs, technically. But they might have branched out in the different types. But yeah, it's just weird. But I mean, 92.10 and 91.63, hey, you can find worse odds. Then we got South Carolina. There's only 2 casinos that are on cruise ships, so they're not really in South Carolina. So I did give it a do not gamble, quote unquote, in South Carolina. You won't be in South Carolina. But it's the do not gamble warning special pirate edition because it operates offshore in international waters with no law / pirate law, yar, and absolute free-for-all. Those things can be a 50% margin. You're stuck on the ship. I heard they're historically terrible. South Dakota, speaking of terrible, Deadwood Casino's 1 cent is 90.73. Hey, $5 is 92.51. That's terrible. And average is 91.05. So you kind of can't win no matter how much you're betting. Other 9 have no public stats whatsoever. I don't know why. Don't gamble in South Dakota. Can't trust it. I mean, unless it's at Deadwood, I guess. I'm not that impressed by Deadwood. 91, come on. Texas, weird commission on blackjack. They have like this like 50 cent to $1 commission on every hand that's mandatory or something. It's very strange. No public stats, some class 2 machines, no laws, no minimums. Probably do not gamble in Texas. Look, I didn't go for consistency with these. It took a lot of hours. Washington State, 28 tribal casinos, no public stats, 25% minimum by law across the board, which is the worst in the entire America, at least for ones that have laws, the ones that just say it's a free-for-all. Allowed table games, plus electronic finite ticket gambling machines. So that means you walk up, it prints you an actual ticket, it's like a scratch-off or a pull tab, and it has to be from a known pool. And there's so many issues with randomization and corruption and weird stuff, or potential corruption, I should say. The potential for it. I mean, we got the pull tabs in the bars here in Wisconsin and stuff. They're mostly unregulated. I think they like classified as a raffle or something stupid. I don't know. Top prize on them is like $250. Who cares? But it's just the stupidest machine. You're going to walk in and see a bunch that you're like, what even is this? Bunch of weird class 2 stuff probably. It is not a good place to play at all from the limited information I have. I'm sure the entire comment section is going to be angry people that live in these places and say, no, I've been to a really good one. Well, do you have average stats over a year over all players? I mean, just because you won there one time or you have fun there and think it's kind of neat. I mean, you don't have a hold of the numbers and your machines are really weird. So maybe some of this information might be a little bit off too. Like I said, the sources on these are kind of outdated and weird in some cases, but I got multiple sources on that one. Anyway, let's move on to West Virginia. They're not really casinos, use VLTs, virtual lottery terminals. 80 to 95% by law. Mountaineer Park, though, has 88.97. Mardi Gras is 90.81. Wheeling Island has 89.46. And Charlestown Races is 89.53. So one of the worst VLTs. Don't play in West Virginia. I forgot to put it up there. All right, Wisconsin. All right. All there is, there's not really a law. There's just a Wisconsin state compact, as they call it, with tribal casinos. And they're all tribal, every single one. So 80% minimum, 100% maximum. No public reporting. However, so that you'd say, well, never play Wisconsin. I almost exclusively play Wisconsin, and I've been to almost every single casino in Wisconsin. Almost all of them are terrible. Here's the exception. Some Ho-Chunk locations, because Ho-Chunk is the best, so let's tell you that right now, publicly state 95% average RTP. I think we named 2 casinos. Was it Sparks? And like one other, I think it was like 94.9 or something, like that got even close. So as far as I know, with these numbers, the highest RTP casino in the entirety of America is Ho-Chunk, Madison, and Wisconsin, very closely followed by Wisconsin Dells and Wittenberg. So I've been there. It is true, 100% true. In fact, I think they're referring to Madison, which is almost entirely Class 2, if not exclusively Class 2, for some reason. I think they have a license to not do that, but maybe it's technically outside the reservation. I don't know, whatever. So that doesn't explain Potawatomi, does it? But the other Ho-Chunks are really, really close, and I know that because I've been to them. I've looked at their poker, Ultimate X multipliers, and their payback table rankings. So the rest are mostly awful. I can tell you Oneida, very big margins. There's no way they have an average above 90% in my estimation. No way. Those pay tables on almost everything are terrible. Bad River, pretty bad. Menominee, pretty bad. Island, I think that's technically in Michigan, still pretty bad. I don't remember. But like Ho-Chunk, Wittenberg, and like that one in Nakusa, they're all right, you know. Smaller, older machines, they keep it real. It's dirt cheap for the real estate, dirt cheap for like everything out there. Even the staff, you know, it's not big city wages. So, you know, they keep it real. And they say we focus on fun. So Ho-Chunk didn't pay me to say that. I just like them, I guess. They won't let me film, so I got a little chip on my shoulder about them. But, hopefully they'll stop being dinosaurs and join the 21st century and let me be the first to film there. Although I had heard that they let someone film there and he caused problems and ruined it for everyone. So whoever you are, you better hope I don't figure out who you are. Gonna have some words with you, bro. So once again, you could just go to Ho-Chunk's website, click on Madison, it'll say average RTP across the whole floor is 95%. And like I said, I believe that's 100% Class 2 casino because they had this weird bingo crap going on and I didn't know what that was at the time when I played there. And you'll play some stuff you've never seen. And they also have like some Class 2 versions of some popular stuff. So they had like nothing for video poker. They had like some wacky stuff that's some converted thing. It's obviously not drawing from a correct 52 card deck. So I don't love that, but like it's an example of a mostly Class 2 casino that's set really, really well. And I've heard from somewhat reliable sources, you could probably guess, that other ones, they're in the know, they're like, no, they said I'm really good. So if you don't know what you're going to get, don't play there. Like, for every good one, there's probably 10 bad ones. I don't know. If I don't know, I'm not going to play there. And the couple publicly disclosed tribal ones were pretty bad on this list, but then again, almost everything outside of Vegas was like 90% average, so almost everything's bad. So yeah, Potawatomi and Milwaukee, pretty bad. Been there multiple times, pretty bad. They make so much money there, there's no excuse. But I wasn't real impressed, but their video poker tables were better than Oneida. So it's probably not that bad of a place to play. It might be 92, 93%. Who knows? The new one, oh my gosh, in Carter, don't even get me started. I don't love that one at all. But they give you like so many points. Anyway, Wyoming, Class 2 and Class 3 machines. So they have both. They have a weird like smart card system. I don't know if that's required by law. I think it is. Then no public reporting or minimum RTPs. So don't gamble in Wyoming. Keep it simple. Might be an exception. And that is the last one in alphabetical order. So, like I said, don't say, oh, he said not to gamble there. It's just a blanket general statement. It's a starting point. It's not a finishing point. If your casino advertises something different and they want to disprove what I said or they say something on their website, go by that, obviously. And no matter where you play, just keep it real. Keep it within, your comfortable margins. Because it's for entertainment purposes. It's just a fun night out. It's a thing to do with your entertainment budget or set aside vacation budget or whatever. And sometimes you get your money back. And if you think of it that way, don't overplay, don't chase losses, and don't be an idiot and don't be an addict. well, then there's nothing wrong with it. But a lot of the real degens are actually in Vegas, unfortunately. Not many problem players, although I heard some stories around here, but a lot of the people that is old timers, they are there for 10 years because they stick to a budget and they keep it real. So as long as you do that, I don't think a couple percent is going to make that big of a difference. But if they're ripping me off with 80% machines, because I've seen some par sheets that say like you can set them that low and order them at like 81% from the manufacturer, well, they're selling them to someone somewhere, and it's not the ones that I can see with numbers right here. It's the ones that I can't see the numbers on. So they're out there somewhere like a glacier, and I'm the Titanic ready to sink when I hit it. I'm just going to avoid the ones that I don't know about. But like I said, hit subscribe because I'm going to give away my secrets about how to beat casinos slowly over the next year, and probably then retire from being a professional Advantage player when the tax law kicks in, if it does. So thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.